All right, well, welcome everyone. This is the Paid Lunch Equity Guidance webinar Zoom meeting for the 2021 Paid Lunch Equity Tool. I'm Dana Parker. You guys, most of you know me. I'm the director for the school nutrition programs here at the State Department. And we're gonna go through who has to complete the Paid Lunch Equity Tool and who might be exempt from the Paid Lunch Equity Tool. So, the Paid Lunch Equity Tool, if your district charged less than the weighted average price for the 2019-20 school year, you will have to complete the Paid Lunch Equity Tool, or you may be exempt. And we're going to go over who's exempt in a little bit. There are a couple ways. You either have to raise your price if you're required, or you can use non-federal funds from your to put into your nonprofit food service account. The weighted price average this year is going to be $3.09, and we're going to go into a little more detail how USDA comes up with that $3.09. But let's talk about the people who are exempt first. If you are a school district and you had a positive balance or a zero balance in your school nonprofit food service account as of December 31st, you can be exempt from the Paid Lunch Equity Tool. It doesn't mean you don't have to do it. It just means you could be exempt if you had that positive balance. So what documentation do we need here at the state office if you're going to apply for an exemption? We're going to need to see either your revenue expenditure report for your nonprofit food service account, maybe a monthly board report, or whatever report you can show us from your OCAS accounting system, but it has to be dated as of December 31st, 2019. If you've already sent us that, the girls have already put it in the file and have it ready to be approved. The email on the screen, I'm going to stop here just a minute. You need to write down this email address. This email address is going to be the email address that you send your exemption to and your Paid Lunch Equity Tool to. So it's cnp.data.submissions with an S at sde.ok.gov. And whether you're applying for the exemption or you're turning in your tool, in that subject line on that email, you need to put in your district code, your district county code, like 11-111, and then the name of your school. That's very helpful here in the office because believe it or not, we do have some schools that have the same name. There are two Wilsons out there. There's a Wilson in Eastern Oklahoma and a Wilson in Southwestern Oklahoma. So if we don't have all the correct information, you may not get credit and someone else may get your information. So the other folks that could be exempt from doing the Paid Lunch Equity Tool would be your non-pricing schools or your schools that are on a provision 2 or 3 or community eligibility. And that's all discussed in the memo, the USDA memo SP 39/2011, in those revised question and answers if you would like to research that and see. But one thing we would recommend, even if you are exempt, whether you're just exempt because you have a positive balance or you're exempt because you're a non-pricing provision 2, 3 or CEP school, you may want to go ahead and do this Paid Lunch Equity Tool, work through it to see what your paid lunch price should be. Because at some point, if you are no longer exempt, maybe next year you don't have a positive balance, or you come off of your provision 2, 3 or your CEP, that you're going to have to go back to charging for those full paid meals. That paid rate will be set at the current free rate, not today's rate. It'll be whatever year that is, you come off of that, plus the commodity rate and the incentive rate for the meal pattern incentive. And sometimes that's a shock to a school when they've been on a provision, and when they went on the provision, they were charging 50 cents for a full paid lunch. And when they come off the provision and they go, they're going to be charging that $3.09 for a full paid lunch. So something to think about if you're not in the habit of completing that paid lunch equity tool. So kind of repeat, if you do have the negative balance in your nonprofit school food service account, then you have to complete the tool. You do not have an option of completing the tool if you have that negative balance, and you're not exempt because of the non-pricing or provision. It's going to tell you how much you need to raise it or how much you need of non-federal funds to add to your school nutrition account. So we're going to look at what you are required to charge a full paid student. It says it is the average price and the difference between the free lunch and the paid. And then you take into the other factors and you get the $3.09. Or you're going to cover those with the non-federal funds if you're charging less than the minimum. The minimum that you have to raise the full paid lunch prices to is 10 cents. So USDA is never going to ask you to come up, if you're still only charging $2, they're not going to ask you just to go raise your price to that $3.09. There's still a minimum that you have to raise it. That way, they know parents that would not work if you automatically raised it to the 3.9. The goal is you're supposed to eventually get there, but by raising it 10 cents, and they're usually increase our free lunch price more than 10, you may not ever get there. But the goal is that your free children reimbursement is not supplementing your full paid students. So what are we talking about when we talk about non-federal funds? Non-federal funds is any payment made for breakfast and lunch that is in excess of the weighted price average. Any funds provided by other organizations for your paid meals. So if you have a group that's been donating money to your food service account, those can be used as part of your non-federal funds. And it's any meals from direct payments made by the school district to support your lunch service. So if your school district's general fund is picking up a couple of invoices for your food vendor, or if they're paying part of the child nutrition salaries, those can be contributed as your non-federal funds to support your paid lunch prices. In our manual on page C42, we have a form that has the formula because, like say, even if the district is paying a couple of invoices for your a year, you can't just automatically take all of those funds and put them in as your non-federal funds. You can only claim a percentage of those. So we're going to walk through this form, but I want you to know that the form is located on page C42. So you take your total number of your paid students claimed in the whole previous year. So you would take for last year, 2018-19. Then you're going to divide it by the total number. Let me make sure I'm reading that. Total number of student paid meals claimed in the previous year. And then you're going to divide it by the total number of all student meals. So you're going to divide your paid meals into your all meals and get the percentage of students' meals that you had that were paid. Then in step 2, you're going to look at your expenditures in your Fund 11 through your 60, anything with program 700. You're going to look at all those expenditures. Then in step 3, you're going to take those non-federal fund sources that you had in step 2 times the percentage of your paid meals in step 1. This amount equals the amount of non-federal funds that are available to cover those paid meals. So when we look at the tool, what does the tool actually do? It helps determine that SFA's average price for paid lunches and This was for the 1920, and now we're going to be looking for what we're going to be increasing our pricing to for the 2021 school year. Or it's going to determine the amount of those non-federal funds that you can use in lieu of increasing your lunch full paid prices. So what do you need to start the tool? Well, first of all, you need your 1920 tool. Make sure if you don't have that or you don't know where that is, try to find that. And if you can't find it, then you can use your 2010-11 weighted price average. And I'm going to show you a way to go find that 10-11 if you don't have anything. If you're brand new out there and you're thinking, I don't have a clue where to go look, the person left and they didn't leave any files, don't panic. We can help you find the information you need. You're also going to need all your average prices for all of your full paid meals. Oop, hang on, I did something. All right, I lost the chat box. So if you're sending any questions in, I can't see the chat box. Hang on. Okay, I was trying to get the chat box where I could read and my slides and see the chat box, because someone asked a question about, is there a magic button yet that if you are charging more than the $3.09, you can just check a box and be done? For example, I charge $3.25. I'm not sure if there's a magic button. I think if we read in the instructions, there is something about if you are already charging over the weighted price average, there may be a magic button. We'll look that up for you and let you know. So the other things you're going to need for the tool, all of your paid lunch prices for October of 2019, and the number of paid student lunches associated with each of those prices. So you're going to need basically your October edit check sheets and what you charged all of your students. So in the tool, on the very last tab, the tool is broken up into tabs, and we're going to try to look at the tool online here in just a minute. You can go to this, the very last tab is the 2010 weighted price average. Of course, you're going to have to research your information and pull up your lunch pricing and your number of meals that you claim that year. That's why it's very important that you keep your tools from year to year. Now, we left this slide in here. This slide just basically says if you serve maybe some of the bigger schools, their high school, they may serve more multiple lines, and they may have different charges that they charge their full paid students. You can actually do that. You do not have to just charge one full paid price to your students. You may want to have a special meal or something. You would still only charge your reduced students the normal reduced price, and your free students would have to be made available to them too, but you could charge a premium meal. But if one school building, the way the tool works, it would only have a line for one building, but you would maybe need to average that meal price for those multiple lines. And this slide just kind of shows you that you take your total number of student meals, divided it into the income generated to get the average price of those meals. Some additional tips on working with the tool is if you had any non-federal funds that were not used in last year's, and they do carry over for this year. And the current weighted price average, Only the tabs that are relevant in this tool have to be completed. So you may not be completing every single tab in the tool. So the way the tool works is it's broken down into 9 tabs. It's an Excel spreadsheet. We send it out just the way USDA sends it to us. See the 9 tabs that we have here on the screen. And in the tool, there's hyperlinks that will take you faster to one of the other tabs, or you can just tab along the bottom to find where you're going. Now, right here on this screen, this is the instruction tab. The instruction tab, I would recommend you read through, but what I want to bring your attention to is you see the peach strip at the top, and we've kind of got an arrow pointing to it, and it has SFA name. Right here, I want everyone to listen, everyone. If you're doing something different while we're on the presentation, because I know a lot of times when we're watching presentations or listening, we're doing multiple things. Everyone stop and listen. That peach tab up there, we need you to put your school district name and your county district code. That carries that information through the rest of the tool. When you call and you send us your tool and you're needing help to completing it, this enables us to be able to know, to make sure we've pulled up the right tool and that is your school district. Because like I said, there's 2 Wilsons in Oklahoma. There's other schools that have the same name. So we need that county district code listed there also. So, and this slide is also from the instructions. It is giving information on what we need, and we've kind of already talked about that. We need your 1920 weighted price average, your 2010-11 weighted price average if you don't have your 1920 tool, all of your paid student lunch prices, the number of paid lunches associated with each student meal in October. Then, if you've opted to contribute non-federal funds in the 2021 school year, you still need those weighted price average, your weighted either the 2011 or the 1920 prices, the total number of student lunches in the 18-19 school year, and the total dollar amount of federal, non-federal contributions in the 1920 school year. I have to click twice every time on my tab. So we're going to try to do something kind of scary here. I'm going to try to escape out of the PowerPoint. Maybe not. I was going to go to the actual tool and, all right. And it doesn't go away, Cassie.
Well, okay, go back up here. And
okay, everyone just hang with me real quick.
Try to hit escape to get out of the PowerPoint, and it should show your desktop. Can you just hit like escape?
what do you want to show them?
I'm going to show them cars.
Okay, so open up, click on here, just click. Oh, I see.
So I'm here. So I just need to go to cars.
Mm-hmm.
It's not showing on this.
Well, go back up to here. So you
Okay.
can see this.
New share.
And
Right
click
there.
Mhm.
Share. Okay.
Do they see that? You might
Yep,
see-
that did it.
Okay. So you're seeing Oklahoma State Department of Education.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Okay, so what we're going to look at is when you're ready to download the tool on your system, come over to Other Documents, click on Other Documents. You're going to scroll down to the paid lunch equity information, the Tool is already there. You're going to open the tool. However your system opens the tool. Now, Gary, are we seeing an Excel spreadsheet?
No, not yet. We're still seeing the October reports, paid lunch equity, procurement.
What are you trying to show?
Okay, how about now?
Yep. Well, let's see. It's not a, it is a spreadsheet. Yep. It didn't look
Okay.
like a spreadsheet, but it is.
Okay. The tabs at the bottom is what I was talking about. Here's the instruction tab. When you type in your school name, so you've typed in school name and your county district code. See how now I've went to the next unrounded requirement finder and the school name and tab is still up here in the red. That's where we want to make sure you go put your name and information in. Also, in the tool, only the squares that have the salmon color are where you can type, where you can add information. If it's a white cell, there's a formula already in it. It is locked. You cannot change that formula. So if you're working through the tab, you've got your 2019 unrounded price. Maybe it was $2.90. And see how it automatically now says our new average unrounded price for next year is going to be $3.04. This information carries forward to the other places in the tool. I'm not going to just walk through the whole tool. It can get kind of complicated, but when you're working through it, take one step at a time. Work through that first unrounded requirement finder, then you're either going to do the price calculator to decide what you're going to raise your full paid prices to, or you're going to use your non-federal calculator, or you're going to use a combination of both. So you may only want to raise pricing by 2 or 3 cents overall at all your schools, and you want to contribute some of your non-federal funds. That's allowable. That's the split calculator here that allows you to work through that. The report is what our girls look at to see that everything, I shouldn't say girls, what our people look at here in the office to make sure everything is completed. This box right here that we're at now that's kind of peach, this is where you're going to tell us if you're increasing prices, if you're going to contribute non-federal funds, or if you're going to do a little bit of both. Are you, and that question I think that someone had earlier, at or above. So I'm assuming this is where you would go and click here that you do not have to raise pricing, or if you are going to be exempted. The 1920, the actual last 2 tabs on the tool, the price calculator for 1920 or that 1011, those are there for you to use if you need to look at if you're a bigger school and you have more than one building and you're going to look at pricing to average for your elementary, your middle school, your high school. This 1920 price calculator is where you would do that. This 1011 is what I was showing you if you didn't know where your 1920 paid lunch equity tool was, or you just wanted to put in the information to see what that was back in 2010-11. Now we're going to try to get back to the PowerPoint now, but I think we can do it. We're going to put a new share. We're going to go back to our PowerPoint.
Perfect.
Y'all can see it. I just can't see it.
Oh, we can see it.
I may have too many things open. Okay, hang with me just 1 minute, folks, and we'll be right back up. All right, Gary, are we on the slide that says go to cars?
You are, but it's in the small mode.
Yes, it is. It's in a small mode. And you can also see your notes down below.
All right,
Now
how
you're
about
good. Now you're
All
good.
right. All right. Now, just a couple reminders. We're really just about through. Like I said, record your name in the 2021 report tab. Make sure you use that drop-down box to tell us what you're going to do. If you're raising prices, contributing non-federal funds, or you're doing a little of both. Use those text boxes to record those sources of non-federal funds, that tool that's in the child nutrition manual. You want to look at that and see if how much of those that you can contribute. The at or above equity choice is there only if you're charging the more than the $3.09. So the person that asked that question, that's where you're going to mark that and go ahead and send the tool in. Things to remember and the process. You are not required to raise prices more than 10 cents. That keeps you in compliance. If the formula shows there's no need to raise your prices, you're not required to. The consultants will look at the tool when they come out, but all the tools need to be turned in to the State Department at the website. I'm going to give that website again, or the email address here again in just a minute. But it's the district's decision on the amount to raise. So I know some of you are wanting this to be completed so that you can get those to your boards who are still meeting to know what you're going to raise pricing for next year. And if anyone asks about being exempt from the PLE due to the COVID crisis, we have not had any indication from USDA that they're going to waive raising lunch prices for the school year due to anything to do with the COVID. So you must complete the tool. And in years past, we've tied that to your May claim. This year, your paid lunch equity tool will be tied to the application approval for the 2021 application and agreement for child nutrition. In other words, we will make sure your paid lunch equity tools are turned in and approved before we will be able to approve your 2021 application. So don't wait. Get those, get them started now. Go ahead and get them turned in because you've got all this information. Have it ready. And just kind of a reminder, if you're exempt, you're one of those non-pricing schools, you're a provision, CEP, you're a residential child care institution, those schools and entities are exempt from completing the PLE. And kind of to repeat, once the tool is saved, just remember when you open that tool on your computer, do that save as, because if you do not do the save as, you could lose all the information that you've entered into the tool. And that's very disheartening when you put everything in there and you've not completed the save as and saved it on your computer. And try to make sure you know where you saved it on your computer so that you're able to find it and be able to email it to us. So on this slide, it kind of gives you the example. When you've completed the tool and you're ready to send it to us, in that subject line on the email, please put PLE, your county district code, that 11-I111 is a county district code, and your school name. And this is the email address you're going to send it to, is the cnp.data.submissions@sde.ok.gov. And of course, you guys all know that our consultants and all of our office are working from home right now. So if you call up here to the office to try to get help and you leave a message, please be patient. We will get back with you, but we're all working from home and we're trying to check our phones from home. And we try to do that at least once a day, most of us. Give us a chance. Okay, I'm going to read through some of the questions before we let everyone go. How would I do the tool with no previous information? If you have no meals, then your full paid lunch pricing will be set at the $3.09. You have to start where we are now. I hate to tell you that, but that's the regulation. You're going to start with the $3.09. Okay, my next question, if we raised our prices for this school year 1920, do we have to raise them again for 2021? It all depends on what the tool tells you. If you had anything carried over from last year, it may not have you raise it any. It just depends on how far you are from that $3.09. I can't answer. It's not just a raise one time and done. Right. It just kind of depends on how much you raised it last year. So if you raised, say, 25 cents last year, you may not. It may let you carry over some of that from last year. Okay. This question is, if your new weighted price is $285 and it says its required price increase is $276, does that mean if the weighted average from step 3 is $276, we are safe? Also, do I use the same meal counts in step 3 that I did in the above weighted average? Yes, you're going to use the same meals. Your question is a little confusing, but I'm thinking if it was $285 and it says, well, that wouldn't work, because if your weighted price average was $285, it's not going to be $276. It's not going to be the increase, because that's a decrease. We may come back to your question. We're looking at that one. What page was the formula for general fund paying? I'm not sure what page that's on, but if your general fund is paying your utilities or your cafeteria, we still have to know how you're figuring what your cafeteria utilities should be. It's not just, well, general fund pays all the cafeteria utilities. It has to be some type of formula, some type of way to garner how much they are actually supplementing your child nutrition program by what they're paying. If we do an exemption, can we still choose to raise our prices later? Yes, raising pricing is still a district decision. USDA just wants to keep everyone on the same level of raising somewhat. So like I said, the free lunch reimbursement is not supplementing your full paid students. So if coming off a CEP, how do we figure the price for our school? If you're not charging anything, your weighted price is going to be the $3.09. Okay, so you're clarifying your price was $266 and the new weighted price was $276. Then you should be okay if you raise it that dime, because that would be actually raising it the 10 cents. But here's what she said. If our new weighted average is $276 and they were charging $266, then Yeah, and usually the tool does a rounding. It'll round up and round down. So it's not going to ask you to necessarily charge your students $2.66 and you try to make change. It would probably round that to $2.65. And then if it was rounding up, you know, if it was 266 and it said the dime increase was 276, it's going to say you can get by with $2.75 as your charge. Okay, somebody says cnp.data.submissions@sde.ok.gov is not working when I try to send in my expenditures. Okay, well, we have our computer people sitting here listening in, and we will have them check it out.
Someone said what the page number, the formula, that's C42.
Okay, the page number for the formula for working through your non-federal funds is C42. That's, okay. Yeah, C42 in the manual. And Cassie's checking out the cnp.data.submissions@OK, or okay. We can't get that checked, but we will check that out and make sure that is correct. And Becky, if you're on the call, can you unmute your phone and let me know if you can find that, Becky Gray?
Dana, that is correct. That's the right address. So I'm not sure what's going on. We've been getting emails to that address.
Okay, wonderful. Well, whoever sent that in that question that it wasn't working, check your dots and your S's and your spacing and make sure you got it right, because it's,
Dana, I don't mind if you give out my email address directly. It doesn't matter to me.
okay, well,
You
your email
can't give
address
to
is
that
not
one. They
there.
can give it to mine.
If something happens and you just can't make the cnp.data work, send it to becky.gray@sde.ok.gov. All of our addresses are our first name, our last name, @sde.ok.gov if anyone has wondered that. So you can get to any of us by sending us an email. Got another message, so let's check that. When does this report have to be finished and emailed? It has to be completed before we will approve your 2021 child nutrition application and agreement. So anytime between now and the time you want to get your first claim in August, you need to have that to us. The sooner you get it in, the better off you will be, because a lot of times if you wait and you think, well, I'll get it in this summer, and you forget about it, you try to do your application and agreement and you're waiting on us to approve it, and we call you September 15th because we're just now getting around to approving, and you haven't completed your PLE. And so that's going to hold up your application and agreement even more and could possibly cause you to have a late claim. Okay, I'm getting clarification. You can't even start your 2021 child nutrition application and agreement until we receive your paid lunch equity tool. So when submitting the revenue expenditure report for an exemption, the December report is all that is needed. Correct, the December expenditure revenue report, but it needs to make sure it's dated as of December 31st, 2019. Do we need to wait till the board approves the prices? That is not for the tool. We don't have to have board approval on the tool at all. So, but you do want to make sure whatever you send in that you're going to raise your prices to is what you raise your pricing to, because we look at that, compare that to your Schedule B to make sure that what you are charging is what you said you were going to charge. If we send in our expenditure, when will we know if we are exempt? If you had a positive balance in your food service account, you are exempt. Clarification, we do send you an email back that says we've received your exemption keep that email for your records. Anyone have any other questions, or if I missed a question and you typed it in while I was talking, you might send it again. Gary usually captures all of our questions, and I try to look through them. If there's one that we feel needs to be answered, we will send it back out. Again, this will be posted on CARS in the paid lunch equity section. We will do the video and the PowerPoint. If you were on the call today, we will send you a certificate so that you will have that for your professional standards. And I think that is about it, unless we have anything else. All right, well, thank you guys. You guys are doing a great job out there. We appreciate everyone feeding all the kids and taking care of things. And we're here to help you in any way we can. And if you've not completed your May, June seamless summer application and you're planning to serve meals in May and June, you might work on that. But if we can help you in any way, let us know. Thank you.